Joseph and his brothers, from betrayal to blessing. Welcome back to the Bible Story Corner. Today, we're diving into the incredible story of Joseph and his brothers, a tale filled with drama, betrayal, and ultimately, redemption. This story spans several chapters in Genesis, specifically chapters 37 and 39 to 45. So, grab your popcorn and get ready for an adventure. Our story begins with Joseph, the favorite son of Jacob. He's the firstborn of Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, and because of this, he receives a beautiful Technicolor coat. Just imagine it. This coat becomes a symbol of Jacob's favoritism, and it doesn't sit well with Joseph's 11 brothers. To make matters worse, Joseph has dreams that seem to elevate him above his siblings. In one dream, they are all binding sheaves of grain, and his sheaf rises and stands tall while theirs bow down to it. Can you imagine their reactions? They're furious. The tension escalates when Joseph shares these dreams with his brothers. Instead of celebrating, they plot against him. One day, while Joseph is sent to check on them in the fields, they see him coming in his colorful coat and decide enough is enough. They throw him into a pit and later sell him to passing traders. Imagine the betrayal. The brothers tell their father Jacob that Joseph has been killed, showing him the coat stained with goat's blood. The pain of deception weighs heavy on Jacob's heart. Now, let's fast forward to Egypt, where Joseph is sold as a slave. He ends up in the house of Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh. Despite his circumstances, Joseph thrives. The Lord is with him, and he finds favor in Potiphar's eyes. He's put in charge of everything in Potiphar's house. But then, trouble arises. Potiphar's wife makes advances toward Joseph, and when he refuses, she falsely accuses him, leading to his imprisonment. Talk about a roller coaster of emotions. While in prison, Joseph continues to rely on God. He interprets the dreams of Pharaoh's cupbearer and baker, predicting their fates. Joseph's ability to interpret dreams becomes crucial when Pharaoh has troubling dreams of his own. The cupbearer remembers Joseph and brings him before Pharaoh. Joseph interprets Pharaoh's dreams, revealing a coming famine and advising him to store grain during the years of abundance. Pharaoh is so impressed that he appoints Joseph as second in command over all of Egypt. If you are finding this story informative, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. Now, let's pause for a moment. Can you see how God was at work through all of this? Joseph's journey from the pit to the palace was filled with challenges, but each step was leading him to a greater purpose. As the famine strikes, it reaches Canaan, where Jacob and his sons live. They hear there's grain in Egypt and send their brothers to buy food. Imagine their shock when they come face to face with Joseph, who is now dressed as an Egyptian ruler. They don't recognize him, but Joseph knows exactly who they are. This must have been a whirlwind of emotions for Joseph: anger, sadness, and perhaps a glimmer of hope. To test their character, Joseph accuses them of being spies and demands that they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, back to prove their honesty. The brothers are terrified, but they return to Canaan to convince Jacob to let Benjamin go. After much pleading, Jacob relents, and they return to Egypt. When they arrive, Joseph prepares a feast for them, and the brothers are bewildered by his kindness. He reveals his identity to them, saying, "I am Joseph, your brother, whom you sold into Egypt." Can you imagine the shock, the fear? But instead of seeking revenge, Joseph reassures them. He explains how God used their actions for good to save many lives during the famine. Joseph forgives his brothers, saying, "It was not you who sent me here, but God." This is a pivotal moment. Joseph understands that God's plan was bigger than their betrayal. He invites his entire family to live in Egypt, providing for them during the famine. As we reflect on this powerful story, we see themes of forgiveness, redemption, and God's sovereign plan. Joseph's ability to forgive his brothers teaches us about the importance of letting go of past hurts. It reminds us that God can turn our pain into purpose and use our struggles for good. So, what about us? Are there areas in our lives where we need to extend forgiveness? Maybe it's a friend, a family member, or even ourselves. Just like Joseph, we can choose to rise above our circumstances and trust that God is working in our lives, even when we can't see it. Thank you for joining me today in the Bible Story Corner. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. Remember, just as Joseph's journey led to blessings, so can ours. Until next time, keep trusting and shining your light.